Trevor Etienne film, and Trevor Etienne at Jennings High School just told.
Okay. All right, I'm going live in about 3 seconds, okay? I'm live now. You cannot make this kind of week up, y'all. This might be the most surreal experience I think I've ever had. Looks like we might have a little problem with the stream here. I'm about to see what's going on here. But guys, this is just a unique time and experience for LSU. It is, this is a news cycle that I literally sat there and I had trouble deciding what do I even talk about first today. Absolutely and not just a news week, a news day. I mean, I was supposed to come on here and kind of regurgitate how, the misery of Missouri and, try to find some positives and talk other things. This might be one of the, toughest shows for me to figure out just what do I lead with. It's also a little unique. I am reporting from the Rocky Mountains. I am in Denver for a wedding. One of my good friends I've known for about almost 2 decades now asked me to be the best man in his wedding. I was highly honored. He tried his best to schedule it during the bye week. Of course, he had it scheduled during summer, COVID, and then he tried to do it during a bye week. Then SEC rescheduled. And you know what? The good man upstairs was watching out because LSU's game against Florida is postponed. Say what it is BS. Billy, why don't you follow up with that? Good, by the way, I appreciate the comment, Billy Wright. But go ahead and tell me exactly what you mean, because, dude, in a week like this, you're going to have to be more specific, man. We talking losing to Missouri? We talking the game getting postponed? We talking Myles Brennan injury? I don't know. Any one of these could lead a show on any given week. Not to mention Alabama coach Nick Saban, the most influential figure in the history of college football, comes down with COVID. Just casual. Folks, you really can't make any of this up. Our poll question today is, this is a question I struggled to actually come up with. What do we even, do for it, But I figured what might be the most fun to engage with is, seeing how substantial, Billy Wright, by the way, followed up all of them. How substantial do you think the Myles Brennan injury really is? Do you think, if he were to be out, do you think it doesn't hurt or maybe even helps? Does it hurt a little? Does it hurt a lot? I'm going to give my take because this weekend I actually, after he took a hit, I had a bold take on how I believe the drop-off from Burrow to Brennan would be less than the drop-off from Brennan to whoever the backup would be this year to come in. And I have a lot of reasons behind that. And, a lot of people were like, dude, what are you talking about, Preston? You're a clown emoji. Well, I stand by that. And I'm going to break that down in just a bit. Guys, if you're watching this show, I'd really appreciate it if you hit that share button, share it with your friends, get people in it, share it to your groups. I'm actually doing the exact same right now, sharing to all my people I want to come join. We're going to have a good time talking about this because, there is just so much to talk about. I'm about to put it on Twitter, about to, send it to whomever. So give me just a second. And I want some comments in here while I'm waiting. How substantial is Myles Brennan? And give me some thoughts more than what you put in the poll there, because I did a poll this week on Twitter, okay? Because there were a lot of people really fairly or unfairly bashing Myles Brennan, particularly after his first half game against Mississippi State. And I'm just curious, you know, why, if fans recognize just how good he's been, first off, and second off, if they realize what the context is of who's behind him, and not necessarily who, but the context of how much time have I had to prepare with this team. I mean, it is not like this is an ideal year to have to turn to a true freshman quarterback where you're already replacing an astronomical amount of talent. I don't think there's ever been a team who lost as much talent as this LSU team ever in the history of college football. I mean, as far as I can see. I'm about to put this on Twitter, and then I'm going to go to the comments and see what y'all think. And I'm going to reveal my Twitter poll results that I ran earlier this week. Of course, if y'all don't follow me on Twitter, I know not everybody has a Twitter. I get it, right? You're kind of a niche market, especially in Louisiana. But if you do, give me a follow at pguy_77. Don't forget to follow your favorite Tiger bait owner. Ooh, I got a really juicy comment. Oh, man. But don't forget to follow your favorite Tiger bait owner, Mike Scarborough, while you're there. Scarborough Mike. He's pretty good on Twitter himself. I've taught him everything he knows. So I'm about to put this. Come join my live show now. It's gonna, what do y'all think? Gonna be fire? Let's do that. Quick, easy, get to the point. I'm about to pull up my poll results here so we can discuss them because it just ended just a couple hours ago. My question was, what do you, all right, for my live show Wednesday, what does LSU need to improve the most next? All right, QB play, 1% of the 832 votes. O-line play, 3%. Tackling, 20%. DB coverage, play calling, 76%. So, I think most people widely recognize that the issues are not on the offensive side. It's actually it's the defensive side of the ball, of course. And the fact that only 1% people threw Myles Brennan under the bus for QB play means to me that, okay, that could literally just be 1% of people misclicking. Who knows? But that to me shows that fans get it. Okay? They absolutely, truly understand. Myles Brennan, in my opinion, has a big argument to be this team's MVP. He has 1,100 yards, 11 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. The dude has been, just shy of spectacular. Now, wins and loss are the one stat column he's struggling in so far. But, can really anybody blame Myles Brennan in either one of those losses? Putting up his 41 and 34 points? Hell no. Now, O-line has been a serious issue. And it's been a cause of concern. It really has. That being said, it is not nearly as bad as, oh my goodness, these defensive play calls. There is no excuse for guys being 25 yards open. Why is Jacoby Stevens on man-on-man coverage deep? And why is there no cover 2, cover 3, anything called over the top? Why are guys breaking this wide open? Look, I'm not about calling for dudes to be fired. I don't believe in it. I think that's a decision. I will say there's been, some rumblings that they're thinking about shaking things up, but you're probably going to finish this season with Bo Pelini as defensive coordinator. So it's definitely going to be Bo Pelini's job to look into fixing these issues because it has just been god awful. All right, tons of comments here I'm going to get to. All right, let's see here. Chris says, go Tigers. Thank you, Chris, for joining us. Chris is in here. Chris Domain every single week, man. What a great guy to have in here. Let's see. Josh and Melissa Giza. Do you honestly feel like we will end the season 5-5 or 4-6? Good question. A week ago, I thought better than that. No, I don't. And I'm not saying it's a bad thing for the program for that. I think LSU's gotten hit particularly hard with COVID, being that, you think of mine, in the middle of the summer, Ogeron said most of the team had COVID, which means most of the teams missed time. They can't form any chemistry. Guys like Jamar Chase just deucing out. A lot of guys' stock were at all-time highs because they were on the greatest team ever, and they decided to cash out. So I think 4-6 is unreasonable to expect of this team at this point. Particularly, there's been some news with Myles Brennan and his hip injury. I don't want to put anything out there, but I will say that, what I've been hearing is that they're looking into what his options are and to how to get him back to the field quickest and healthiest. It has the potential to be serious. So without Myles Brennan, you are plugging in a true freshman. And that leads me to my explanation of why losing Myles Brennan would be more substantial, more of a drop-off in 2020 than losing Joe Burrow, the greatest college football player for a season ever last season would have been. Last season, Joe Burrow had an all-star lineup around him. I mean, think about it. There were 4 other first-round draft picks and 2 other guys that could have been first-round draft picks in Derek Stingley and Jamar Chase, okay? You had a great setup. Myles Brennan shown dude's got talent. Dude went out there and balled without all these guys. I mean, the team's still good, but, dude was still a baller. And I think he would have been just as good last year, if not better, with all that offensive line and Jamar Chase and Terrace Marshall and Justin Jefferson and Clyde Edwards-Helaire and Joe Brady calling plays and a defense that was obviously much better, meaning less pressure. I think he would have been just serviceable. I think LSU with Myles Brennan last year is 11-1 and makes the playoffs still. Seriously, I really think he would have been just fine. Now, does he throw for 60 touchdowns, 65? Does he have a 6,000-yard season? All these things never been done in college football history? Absolutely not. 40? Dude, look, he's got 11 after 3 games. You mean to tell me, so if he kept that pace up, of course he could get 40 touchdowns last year. Blake Ruffino of Are You Serious? You jinxed Brennan. This is all your fault. Of course, Blake Ruffino was the one who lovingly blasted me left and right for that take, but I stand by it. Hopefully my explanations kind of make sense to y'all that, you're going to have to turn to a true freshman this year who didn't get to form chemistry with the team over summer, who doesn't have a great offensive line, who running back is a work in progress. Play calling probably hasn't been quite as great, although I give them a good grade on play calling this year on offense. But true freshmen, I've watched a lot of true freshmen play. I've watched a lot of very good true freshmen play. There are a handful. I'm talking like not even every year. I'm talking like one every 3 or 4 years who could come in as a true freshman and ball out. Now, it looks like Max Johnson will get first snaps. We'll see. I'm not going to throw him under the bus or anything, but your expectations shouldn't be high as a fan. There's no reason you should be sitting here and expecting that Max Johnson's about to go throw for 300 yards a game. Now, if he does and I'm wrong, great for him. I literally have nothing to base that he will do it or do it not, other than I know he's a relatively talented guy. I've watched his high school film. He improved dramatically from his junior to senior year. And yeah, he's got all the potential in the world to do it, but I haven't even seen him practice, and nobody has, except for the coaches. So for anybody to go out there and say we can assume anything else other than extremely subpar is unfair to him and unfair to anything else around. So no, I don't believe in juju, Blake Ruffino. I think people talk about all that juju from the Superdome in 2011. Dude, 2019 undid it. No such thing as juju anymore. Okay, not my fault. It was a good take. All right, I stand by it. Y'all let me know if I had it right or if Ruffino's right that I'm dumb or whatever. Whatever, bro. All right, let's see here. Billy Wright says, I think the true freshman might shock us all. Maybe. But the reason why we would be shocked is because there's an expectation in the first place that these things shouldn't be done by a true freshman. You know what I mean? So you might be right. Before I go on, I really want to thank my guy, Jordan Spector, for sponsoring tonight's show, Spector Sports Art. I've tagged his page. I left you a link to his awesome Joe Burrow painting. You can see it on the bottom right-hand corner on this graphic here. It's really cool. And I don't have the painting here today because I am doing this from Denver. But I'm going to give you a few details on this little video real quick. It is such an awesome video. And I'm about to go down and get to all y'all's comments because I see there's a bunch. I'm probably going to get torched, and that's okay. I am not afraid to be wrong. every time I look at that painting, I notice more and more details. I was sending him text messages today looking at other championship paintings I've seen, and it really, I mean, a lot of these look like, okay, so if you could create it for NCAA football, the video game, and just say, okay, we're going to put this graphic up for when LSU wins the championship, and boom, generic, then it's not good. There's so many details in his that just tell the story of what made this team so special. And every painting proceeds go to Dreams Come True Louisiana and the Joe Burrow Fund in Ohio. So you're supporting Ohio and Louisiana with that. Go get that. All right, let's get to some comments because I think I got some really good ones here. Kenneth Haynes, by the way, Kenneth Haynes, sponsor of our post-game show. Thank you for joining in here, Kenneth Haynes. He's also one of our grade A finalists. Been involved with Tiger Bait since I was in diapers, I believe, is what Mike Scarborough tells me. So let's see here. Brennan has improved a long way for Mississippi State. Without him, LSU doesn't win another game this year. Kenneth, fantastic take, man. Brennan, he's so the first 20 minutes of that Mississippi State game, he looked god awful. I mean, you could not be worse. It looked like he was trying to be Joe Burrow. And the reality is, only Joe Burrow is Joe Burrow. And I get he had a perfect setup and scheme, but dude was still a baller. Okay, you don't get 6,000 yards, 65 touchdowns in a year without having every piece of the puzzle being spectacular, and that's what it was. Win another game without him. I mean, certainly from what you've seen from the team, you're going to have to see some other categories of the team step up because Myles Brennan has been the workhorse of this team. It is almost bizarre to look at an LSU team and say, well, they've got an awesome quarterback, but if they only had a team around him. Yo, remember 2010? Where you're looking at that team and they can't do nothing throwing the ball, and you're like, yo, if they could only find a quarterback, this team, it's the exact opposite. So you really got to hope, that he could find a way back to the field. It is going to be very difficult for this LSU team to win another game without him. Now, they'll make a bowl game. Yeah, college football announced that, all teams are automatically eligible for a bowl game, so you might get a 1-9 LSU bowl team. Who knows, man? I mean, but in COVID year, it's a wild year, y'all. Look, give Ogeron a pass for the year. I mean, real talk. Even I said this offseason, this will be his defining season. Look, if you're basing anything off of this season for Coach O, you're a fool. This is unique. No team has ever been presented. No coach has ever been presented the challenges that he had this year, especially not at this caliber, this level. So give him a pass. Recruiting's still doing good. That's what you need to be looking at. Just enjoy that you get football this year because there was a time in this offseason where a lot of people were saying you might not have it. So, I don't know. We'll see. Chris, what are your thoughts on the Saints possibly playing games in Tiger Stadium? Chris, I'm all about it, man. Mayor Cantrell in New Orleans, I don't like to touch politics at all, but, they're getting in a lot of scuttlebutt about, she's not wanting to let fans in the stadium because of safety, whatever. Look, I'm not going into that. I'm not nearly smart enough or educated enough to break it down as to what's right or wrong. Look, I don't. That's above my pay grade, man. But a lot of people are upset that she's not. So the Saints are like, all right, screw you. We'll go to Tiger Stadium, play some games there, and get some damn fans in the stadium. And that to me, it's unequivocally the right call if you're the Saints. It's a no-brainer. You get 0 fans in the Superdome or you get 25,000 in Tiger Stadium. No brainer. You go with the 25,000 every single time. I'm all about playing a few satellite games a year. I wish they do one a year in Tiger Stadium. It'd be really cool. So yeah, I'm all about it. I wonder if Tiger Bait can get some press passes to that game. I don't know. We'll see. All right, let's see. Blaine, what's up? What's up, Blaine? Billy Wright, defense, yeah. D-line, do we have one at this point? No. But D-line is probably the best part of your defense. They get average pass rush. Ali Gay is good. But, no one on defense is the best. Blaine Smith says, okay, bye. All right, man, look, sometimes it takes me a little while to get to these comments. Let's see here. Nick Gidry, I may potentially have a massive headache now. Gee, thanks. Ooh. Let's see here. I know we lost so much talent, but I still believe we'd be 3-0 right now. We would be 3-0. I'm assuming that means like I don't know. I don't know. 3-0 if what? Just follow up on that for me, Chris, and I'll get back to you. I mean, you'd have to have. I mean, honestly, you'd only need a couple plays going your way. Mississippi State beat you squarely at home, but I mean, you had a chance there at the end, and I have to assume if you're not down by 10, you're taking some much more reasonable shots to the end zone there at the end. So, yeah, one or two plays going LSU's favor, and they could be 3-0. But, the sad part is it's not like this was the meat and potatoes of LSU's schedule. They were supposed to be very easily 3-0 at this point going into Florida. And that's what's devastating about this is, they aren't. They're 1-2, and it really doesn't get easier. Let's see here. Isn't Max a lefty? Max Johnson is a left-handed quarterback. That is, you have to make some adjustments as a team, chemistry-wise. It's always a little interesting. It's been a while since LSU's had a left-handed quarterback. I mean, the ball spins a different direction. Receivers have to adjust. But Max Johnson has clearly been the more polished of the two quarterbacks. Although TJ Finley, and this goes to Chris's next question here, I would like to see Johnson and Finley both get playing time. They'll probably both play because TJ Finley oozes just raw talent. Now, he's a little less clean in terms, he's a big kid. He's 6'5", 6'6", 250 plus, and sometimes it takes these kids a little while to clean things up. You can't really expect kids to be clean and polished when you're that big and you have that strong of an arm, truth be told. You will probably see both actually play. From what I'm hearing, it is neck and neck. Just expect Max Johnson to get the first snap. And unless he blows the roof off, it'll probably be his job. We'll probably see TJ Finley come in. Let's see here. The painting is badass. I have it in my man cave. Billy, that's awesome to hear, man, dude. It really is the coolest painting out there. Dude, post a picture, man. Share a picture in here. I want to see it. I want to see it in your man cave, how it looks. Let's see here. Alyssa Guy. Top fan page. Hi, Bay. She's actually in the room, y'all. We're in our hotel room here in Denver. Let's see here. Jonathan Lowe. It's a disadvantage to the Saints, though. Playing in Tiger Stadium? I don't think so, man. Do they play well in elements on grass? Jonathan Lowe, so let me pose this argument to you that, yes, you do have to make an hour-long trip. Yes, you do have to play in the elements and stuff like that, but so does the other team. And the difference is you bring in 25,000 Saints fans, okay? And look, Mike went to the LSU Mississippi State game, and for 25,000 people, that place was rocking. So to get some fan noise, better than no fan noise. So now I think that's a huge advantage to LSU. Let's see here. This year is all on coaching. We're going to have to get behind Coach O and support his coaching methods now. You're absolutely, unequivocally correct there. I mean, absolutely. I mean, Coach O's got his toughest job yet. Looks like, coordinator, he might have, I don't want to call it a miss quite yet, although I'm sure most fans would, but it looks like he's having some trouble there. And we'll just have to see. We'll have to see, and Coach O, one of the things I said, now, I'm not going to renege. I think Coach O's an after seeing last year, I won't doubt Coach O. I mean, it's going to take a lot more than one season of anything for me to doubt Coach O. I mean, I know there's no excuses in football, but he gets every excuse on the planet, it seems like, this season. But the downside to the Coach O hire the comment I made when they hired him, I didn't like it. I thought he was kind of unproven, and I thought LSU could go for a bigger name guy. But one of the big things is he is purely a motivation, recruiting, and team management guy, right? There's a whole piece of the puzzle where he just nothing, and that comes to scheme. He is not a scheme guy. He's great at teaching player technique. He's great at recruiting and managing a team, but he doesn't do scheme. He doesn't do play calling. He's never been a defensive coordinator. And that's what I didn't like because when you are a guy who does not do scheme, you are 100% reliant on your coordinators, and you're one bad coordinator away from a 6-6 season any given season ever, because there's just no one to turn to scheme wise. And is that what we're looking at this year? I don't know. A lot of people would argue so. I'm not going to throw them under the bus yet, because it's not what I do, but that was one of the major downsides of the Coach O philosophy. I mean, it's not just, the fact that he can't do scheme and done right. He recognizes he's not a scheme guy, and that's the Coach O method is not to do scheme. It is to hire people who do schemes and do the things you do well as a head coach damn well, and he does those things damn well. But there's just things he can't do, and bad coordinator, you're a bad coordinator hire away. So yeah, I would definitely hone in more on just focus on what Coach O's doing in recruiting. Do you have top 5 recruiting classes coming in? Does Mason Smith go to LSU? Does Corey Forum come to LSU? That's what you need to be watching for. Are recruits still interested? Do they understand this is COVID year? Do they understand 18 of 22 starters are gone from the national championship? Do they understand Dave Aranda left town? Do they understand Joe Brady left town? Do they understand it's only a matter of time before Coach O assembles the Avengers once again? Or do people kind of lose faith? That's what you got to get. So what I'll never lose faith in is Jordan Spector to create outstanding artwork. And he has a new piece coming, and I can't wait to do it. But if you haven't gotten the Burrow painting, the cigar, bottom right-hand corner of your screen here, you need to get it, man. I mean, it is the piece that everybody comes into my man cave and they immediately ask questions about. It's the coolest artwork ever. Proceeds to this go to the Joe Burrow Fund, providing money for food banks in Ohio, and to Louisiana Dreams Come True. It is awesome. Burrow family's on board with it. Y'all go check it out. Here's a few more details on it. Just try to look at the nice, neat little details here. So very awesome stuff. Thank you, Jordan. I mean, I can't describe just how great that is. Chris says forever LSU, man. Yeah, a lot of LSU fans going to have to take that mindset this year if, things, don't improve from what it appears on the injury front for Myles Brennan. I think that is going to be devastating to the team. I don't think it's reasonable to expect it not to be devastating. So as for LSU Florida, doesn't it seem like this matchup every single year? Not even in necessarily, because the game itself is wild. I mean, as wild as any series, but probably the most wild on-field series there is. 07 Florida, you got to think about. Then 2016 Florida, you get the hurricane drama. And Florida just completely, look, I don't want to even get into it, but basically they butted their heads. They said, no, we're not playing. I don't want to give you my home game. And they ended up doing it anyways, but then LSU had to give up their 2017 home game. So LSU then gets to play them in November in Tiger Stadium, and they lose that game to Florida after being stopped, just like Missouri, 1 yard short of the end zone. Now we have a new twist. Wild twist. 5 players test positive for COVID. Myles Brennan injury kind of gets floated out there, listed as doubtful. And bada bing, bada boom. Game rescheduled December 12th, week before the SEC championship. And I get to keep a friend because Mike Scarborough was going to kill him for scheduling a wedding during the LSU game. I argued he deserved a pass because, COVID, tried to do it during summer, tried to do it during the bye week, then everything got scheduled. But you know what? Someone upstairs had a bigger plan for him, and I get to not disown my friend and be best man in the wedding this weekend and not have to have someone else write my game story for Tiger Bait this weekend. So I am extremely happy about that. That being said, the game itself, it might have been a tough spot for LSU. Kyle Trask, I mean, Florida's defense has had all sorts of issues, just like LSU's have. But, I mean, y'all, KJ Costello broke an SEC record against this SEC defense. 636 passing yards. No one ever did it. No one. 2 weeks later, he goes to Kentucky. And they scored 2 points. And not by they. I don't mean the offense. That's a safety, partner. That's defense, okay? You mean to tell me the dude who breaks the SEC record for passing yardage against your defense gets benched and scores a big fat goose egg 2 weeks later? Yo, that is historically bad defense. I mean, that is just, I mean, you can't, I mean, LSU's defense, I'm not saying anything they don't know already, by the way. They're sick with themselves about that, looking themselves in the mirror. Okay, well, cool, you get Derek Stingley Jr. back, you shut Vanderbilt down to 7 points, that's all hunky-dory great. And then Missouri? With a quarterback making his first start of the year, a freshman? Throws for how many yards? 430? What? They hang 45 on you? I get the Hurricane rescheduled the game. I get that, you know, it was a unique circumstance. Dude, it's Missouri, and they scored 45, and they bullied you. Oh, that's when the excuses start to get much less substantial. Alyssa with a comment, didn't you work in the SEC SID last time the game was rescheduled? No, I did not. I was actually a fresh grad from LSU SID. It was the season after I left. Although we did have McNeese State canceled my last year in the SED, I was that was my first season writing at The Advocate. Let's see here. When is college basketball starting? Oh, let's see. I'd have to go pull the schedule for you, Chris. Hold up. Let's see. Y'all know I'm a big time football. I'm the football beat writer, but let's see here. I'll pull that for you real quick, man. Because honestly, basketball might be LSU's best sport this year. I'm excited about what Will Wade's doing and the recruiting class he's brought in, and it's right around the corner. I'm about to pull the exact date for you if LSU Sports loads for me here. Should be November. Yeah, I'll come back to that. It's going to load in a second here. So next topic I want to hop on here. Nick Saban, the greatest coach of all time in college football history, arguably college sports history, although many would argue John Wooden at UCLA. I would argue during the 60s there were rules that made it pretty degenerate in basketball, but okay, whatever. Nick Saban has COVID-19. He coached his team today over Zoom. What? Let's see here. I mean, you can't make this stuff up, man. You can't make this stuff up. Who knows? We're supposed to sit here and break down, oh, well, what's the impact? I mean, how much is it going to hurt his team? I don't know. And anybody who does is really just full of it. And I am pulling up that LSU basketball schedule, by the way. It is right here. All right, looks like that's last year. November 21st. Yep, November 21st is when they start. Cool. So, how much does Nick Saban truly help his team when he's at practice? I mean, he doesn't really call plays. Do his little ass chewings, as he calls them, when he's chewing out his assistant coaches, is that what makes his coaches do better? It really makes you question a lot of the things. Is it just that he's Nick Saban and he recruits well? Like, what is it truly about Alabama under Nick Saban that makes them a truly dominant winning program? And we're about to find out if his on-the-field presence and the way he chews people out and the intimidating machismo stuff he brings to the table, if that's part of the equation, I'd argue it's not. I think that recruiting plays a huge part. I think that the reputation of Saban, it's almost a snowball effect. It's like, people know who Nick Saban is. They want to be around Nick Saban. 5-star recruits want to go play for Nick Saban because they know that that's great development. So he doesn't have to recruit as hard. He has all the resources he needs. He hires the best coaches because coaches understand that Alabama is basically a coaching rehabilitation clinic where if you get fired, you go there, you could be an assistant with some generic title, and bada bing, bada boom, 2-3 years later, you're a head coach, i.e. Lane Kiffin, head coach of Ole Miss, i.e., all sorts of guys, Jeremy Pruitt, Tennessee. I mean, look all around. I mean, being a Saban assistant is a great way to be promoted, and people know that, and that's why they deal with it, and that's why the program just keeps on rolling and rolling and rolling. I'd argue that him not actually being there might not be the biggest harm in the world. I think he might help a little bit when he gives these little signature ass chewings, but I think the team's going to be fine. Like, Bama showed a lot of holes on defense. They showed a lot of holes on defense against Ole Miss this weekend. Not as many as LSU showed, but I think Alabama is probably still your favorite to win the SEC, but I don't see them being dominant. I don't see them going 10-0. I think they'll lose a game somehow, some way. That defense, I mean, if Ole Miss can do it, think about what Florida and Kyle Trask can do for you there, So I think expect a bit of a shootout there. I again want to thank Jordan Spector Sports Art, for sponsoring tonight's show. Of course, he created the amazing Burrow painting. I'm going to show you that one more time here, and go check it out in the link. It's not too. It's an affordable, cool piece. If you're looking for a cool Christmas present for your favorite LSU fan, get him a moment that's immortal. There will not be another LSU moment that is more iconic than Joe Burrow smoking a cigar in the Superdome after getting 65 touchdowns, 6,000 yards, beating Bama 15-0, Heisman Trophy, Maxwell Trophy, O'Brien Trophy, Manning Trophy, all of that. Go get you one. Check it out, guys. Every time I watch that video, it gets me all. That's so good. It's just so good. Like, I can't tell you just like how legitimately like exciting I was to get that as a sponsor this year. I mean, that's the coolest sponsorship I could ever pick up. John Marion, while I was doing a little commercial break there, dropped a really good comment I'm going to get to here. Dude, Saban is great because he has his team well prepared each game and does a ton of teaching and coaching and practices leading up to each game. That's a fact. That is a fact. It is 1,000% a fact. I don't know what's the impact. I don't know what it translates into physically. I mean, yeah, he does. But can he still do it virtually? I don't know. I mean, he's still managing. I mean, can he still get on players? Maybe he does it better because he has more eyes. I mean, dude, these are unprecedented times. We have no idea. Chris, Joe Burrow, the GOAT father, the Go father. Clever. But we'll have to see on that. I mean, he'd still be the favorite. Hey, guys, I also want to encourage y'all, go check out tigerbait.com. As things are wild with recruiting, there's no official visits till 2021, so recruiting has been wild. LSU's got the number one player in the country on the hook, number one defensive tackle on the hook, many other 5-star guys. They're looking to add a few cherries on top of this amazing class they already have. Y'all go check us out. It only costs $1. Go have to tigerbait.com. Get started. I promise you're going to like what you get. Okay? So, that being said, LSU moves on to play South Carolina October 24th in Tiger Stadium. It'll be their first home game in Tiger Stadium since playing Mississippi State and losing week 1. So that'll be interesting because I'm expecting, there's nothing official yet. I don't have a report. I'm not reporting this, but I'm expecting that it'll have to be Max Johnson who rolls out for first steps against that. That being said, tell me if I sound like a broken clock here, but it should be a winnable game. Should be doable. But we said that against Missouri. And we said that about Mississippi State. Those teams are 0-4 when not playing LSU. 0-4. That stinks. So who knows? And then you lose your arguably. I guess Stingley is the best player on the team, but it hadn't really shown. They just go away from Stingley. Really. You can't cover the entire field. So Brennan has been your best performer this year. So if you're down Brennan, man, it could be ugly. I'm going to have to look more into that matchup. But at this point, it'd be impossible for me to pick LSU over anyone in the SEC right now without Brennan. So we shall see. Chris, no matter what, we are LSU, proud to be a Tiger. Every second of my life, these young men will find their identity, trust me. And look, Chris, I think that's the right attitude. I don't think that as an LSU fan, and I'm not telling LSU fans what to do and how to think and stuff like that. You're a fan, you do what you want. I would recommend just taking it easy this year. Give them a pass. You just watched the greatest team in college football history, and then the world unraveled around them. And, Orgeron's having to put up with stuff that it's some serious challenges. And, I think a lot of patience will do you good. You want the program to bounce back for next year. You got to start making moves for next year to be able to be good. But you're 1-2. You're not making it to the SEC. You're not making it to the playoff. Your season, the LSU standard of expectation is out the door 3 games into the season. It's done. It's over. You're not making the playoff. So as a fan, just sit here and, I'm not saying make excuses for the team, but look at the context. And understand, is it really, everybody wants to point to Bama and say Bama does it every year. Bama never did what LSU's having to do. I don't think I've ever seen a Bama team lose 18 of 22 starters. I don't think I've ever seen a Bama team have to deal with COVID quite like LSU did and lose players like Jamar Chase weeks before the season. I certainly don't think I've seen Bama have to do what LSU might have to do if Myles Brennan is not back. So stop with the Bama comparisons because there's no Bama comparison. There's no comparison. Maybe if, LSU won the national championship last year and, lost 12 starters and lost a coordinator, not both coordinators, and there wasn't a global pandemic forcing us into unprecedented scenarios. Maybe that'd be a fair comparison, but I don't think it is now. John Marion, talking about recruiting, do you have any insight to why the number 1 tight end in the country, Eric Gilbert, why you don't use him at all on the goal line? Ooh. Oh, man, dude. Look, play calling has been a pretty good thing for the most part, offensively. The conversions in the red zone and third down have been very questionable. I've seen some things where, they ran a wheel route with Torrey Carter in the end zone. And he just drops a touchdown pass because he's a fullback. And he's a great player for what he does, but I'm just not sure that that's his role. That was one I looked at when he dropped it in the end zone. Why are you not using Eric Gilbert there? Really? I think that Eric Gilbert has been underused in the end zone. I'm not sure that Eric Gilbert's been a true enough presence blocking in the running game to necessarily provide any deception in the red zone that might just come with being a freshman. So We'll see. I can tell you they did call 2 passing plays there at Missouri at the very end. They were both rollouts. I'm not sure, you know, that I mean, essentially Missouri defenders broke on the ball both times. So not exactly sure. I think you might be onto something. Just throw the ball up to Garrett Gilbert. Just throw it up. He'll go get it. Dude's a freak. Terrace Marshall. That dude's a freak. I mean, they got some dudes to throw to out there. I think offensive line probably could also do a lot of help. I mean, in the goal line, they got abused. Keep in mind, you needed 1 yard. You're LSU, and you couldn't get 1 yard against Missouri. I mean, it's pretty condemning. But of course, offensive line lost everybody, just like the rest of the team did. They lost 4 out of 5 starters. So we'll see about that. I would say red zone woes. I would put that more on offensive line, less on play calling. But I mean, clearly, anytime Torrey Carter is dropping end zone passes and you're not getting the ball to Eric Gilbert, there has to be some criticism there. Well, guys, I'm glad we had a show this week where we could talk about something else other than the misery of Missouri, and we could get into some interesting stuff. I'm sad LSU Florida is not going to happen, although I am happy that I will not miss it due to this wedding and I can keep my friend in my life and still talk to him. I appreciate all y'all for watching. And I want to thank Jordan Spector one more time for sponsoring tonight's show. I didn't get to put his painting up, so I'm going to end the show here with a quick little tidbit from him. His Joe Burrow painting, the link's in the bio. Go get it. Show it off, guys. Put it in your man cave. All proceeds go to Louisiana Dreams Come True and the Joe Burrow Foundation. Check out the details on this video. Thank you, Jordan Spector, for creating such awesome work, and we're going to have new work for him up very soon. Thank y'all for watching. My name is Preston Guy, TigerBait.com. Give me a follow on Twitter, Instagram, at PGuy_77. I would appreciate that. Y'all, I will see you next Wednesday as LSU prepares to take on South Carolina in Tiger Stadium. Tree done.
Forever.